Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolf Vega from 3D2D.com, and this is a podcast rerun. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be releasing on July 6th, 2018, and I thought it'd be fun to repost the Ant-Man original review. So, a few things about this podcast. We recorded this, and unfortunately, the equipment that we used was not as high quality as we currently use. Therefore, it does sound a little scratchy. I try to fix it, but it is what it is. So, I do apologize. I think the podcast quality has dramatically improved since recording this, and I'm sorry that we go back in time and it's worse, but hey. So, I hope you enjoy this retro Ant-Man review.
Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Imagine a soldier the size of an insect. The ultimate secret weapon.
If you give godlike powers to everyone, it's going to be chaos.
So how do we stop him?
I know a guy. Scott, I've been watching you for a while. You're different. And I believe everyone deserves a shot at redemption.
Hello. This is Adolf Vega from 3D2D.com, and I'm with James Tate. And today we're reviewing the next Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Ant-Man. As always on 3D2D.com reviews, we're going to talk about the 3D element first. So, when the movie started, I don't know about you, James, but I wasn't too impressed with 3D. But, as the movie kept going with the action set pieces, I actually really started to like it. The movie kind of started off a little bit slow with the 3D, with just like one person talking, the other person to another person, and one person being slightly closer to you than another, which is like whatever. And whenever he does, Ant-Man becomes small, and you have it in those 3D action scenes. I really like this because you get a nice, good sense of scale. A lot of it's depth based, so it's not really pop out, and it's kind of disappointing that some of the pop out wasn't there. So the one scene that I really liked, which I thought should have been better, was like a miniature model scene with the city, and it looked cool, but it could have been better. And that's part of just my best way to describe it. It looked good, but it could have been better. So what do you think, Jim?
I thought that same thing. I think that the 3D wasn't a problem. Like, I think that the worst 3D I've ever seen would like hurt my eyes, but this was fine. Like, it didn't bother me.
Okay. Do you kind of agree that they didn't really do much with the pop out? It was mostly depth.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any scene that you know what scene I'm talking about, where the miniature little city? It just kind of seemed underwhelming to me. I was like, oh, it could have been better. It looked cool, but it's like,
Yeah.
Do you like how depth it was, that you could get a good sense of how far away things were? I think it really kind of helped me get into the movie a little more, because you could kind of see, oh wow, you're tiny and how big you are, how far away that thing is. It kind of worked for me.
Yeah, it worked. I'd agree.
So I guess we're pretty much in agreement here. I'm gonna give it a good 3D. Not great, but good. If you go see it, I think you'll be like, yeah, that was bad, but it's not amazing or anything. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Good 3D.
Okay. Now onto the movie itself.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by 3D Wiggle. With 3D Wiggle software, you can impress your family and friends with 3D gifts and videos. To find out more information, please click on the link in the description for 20% off coupon as well. This podcast is also brought to you by Patreon.
With Patreon, you can become a patron and get this podcast commercial-free and get many more benefits. Please click on the description again to get more information. Now, back to the show.
So, Ant-Man is kind of a strange Marvel Cinematic movie because the character is actually a founding member of the Avengers, but this movie is not introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe until after the second Avengers film. That being said, I still really like this movie a lot more than I originally thought. This is actually pretty strange because it's both an origin story and both of a passing of the torch story. So, do you want to kind of go over the plot details without any big spoilers real quick?
So, the plot is basically about the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym, basically wants someone to take up the title of Ant-Man because the Ant-Man needed again, and it's to steal a suit that they're developing that, like the Ant-Man suit, called the Yellow Jacket, I believe. So, Hank Pym basically passes the torch to Scott Lang, and Scott Lang is he's a well-known, thief, like a robber or burglar, because he breaks into this, a really top-level security. So he's fitted for, Hank Pym wants to teach him how to use the suit. That's the point.
Yeah, basically, without getting into spoilers here. So overall, one thing that really caught my eye with the movie was the humor. I really liked it. I really thought it was genuinely funny and entertaining. What about you?
Yeah, I think it worked, but I think that the guy who, directed did Step Brothers. So, I mean, it was kind of directed by a comedy kind of director.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you ask me, this is the most funny or the most closest to a straight up comedy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like all of it.
Yeah, and I do think it kind of is a little bit awkward at times because the tone seems to fit here, not fit there, and sometimes there's serious moments, but sometimes there's not. And it kind of is a goofball moment here and there, a little bit corny. It's not bad. It's just kind of a little bit strange.
I think that it works though. I think the comedy aspects work in the film mainly because luckily they didn't try to take the source material too seriously. I mean, this guy shrinks and rides on ants. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do like it. I do really like it actually. I think the trailers really do a disservice to this movie because the trailers really, I think, give you a bad sense of what the movie is, and I think it's much more entertaining and fun, and just good popcorn, funny movie. My favorite action scene, I guess, in the movie was with an Avenger, which we're not going to say which Avenger it was, but I thought that scene was hilarious, and it's really entertaining. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What did you think of that scene?
I thought it was good. I mean, it was funny.
Now, what do you think of the main villain, Yellow Jacket? I kind of thought he was a little weak.
Yeah, he was the most weak, but I mean, I think that it kind of had Iron Man syndrome in the sense that the other characters were pretty strong, and then the villain kind of weak, because that's how kind of the Iron Man films go.
Mm-hmm. Now,
that you said he was actually kind of not really much of a spoiler, but Yellow Jacket is actually a mixture of two villains. His normal persona is actually based on the villain Egghead, but they didn't call him Egghead, of course. And then of course Yellow Jacket. So he's kind of two villains.
Now, you mentioned the other characters here, and we kind of have to talk about the other characters because I never really saw anything of them in the trailers. That's part of the reason why I thought the trailers kind of lied to me. which is not bad because I think it's better than the trailers. Because Ant-Man is more about the supporting cast here, and there's a good amount of characters here that I like. One Russian guy, I thought the accent was kind of bad, but like the main, I guess, Hispanic guy he's with. I like him. I like him a lot.
I thought that his like buddies that like help him on the thing were really funny. Like they're kind of it's kind of weird because like they're competent, but they're goofball.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way of putting it. They're goofballs, but they're likable. They're likable dudes.
well, it's like the Three Stooges kind of. It's like they knew how to rob things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I do think the movie.
Competent.
Yeah. I think the movie has a really good heart to it, and I think that's one element that I really like. There's a plot with the daughter, and
like it was kind of like it worked.
It was
that's the entire purpose of why he becomes Ant-Man. Spoiler. That's kind of the reason. But well, I want to do it for her, you know.
Yeah, and it was bordering on the cheesy, but it worked.
Yeah, it was kind of like the I mean, I think the cheesiness worked.
Yeah. So, what do you overall give this? I'm pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed it so much more than I thought it was going to. The humor really helps me, and I thought they explained a lot of it. And
now, one thing I have to say about this film is that it's unlike every single other Marvel film up to this point. It's completely different. Like, it has references and like mentions even like Age of Ultron at one point. But it's very different.
Now, I still liked it, even though it felt different. It felt distinct, and it felt like it's not necessarily the same thing. Some of the action scenes with the ants and everything, it was nice to see something totally different on screen that I've never really seen a big action scene with the ants and, toy trucks and stuff. It's fun. So, I like this movie a lot, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. James, what do you give it?
Yeah, I'll give it, an 8 sounds good.
You're struggling there. What did you originally think? Like a 7 or a 6 or a 9 or I don't know?
Well, okay. I thought when I was going in and like after I got reviews, like reviews are kind of like mixed on the internet. That is like I know the critics really like it, but reviews like I think that it's only a 7 out of 10, and other people are like it's a 9 out of 10.
Well, who cares what they say? What do you say?
It's 8 out of 10 because like. Yeah, it just works.
It just works. It's a little bit corny, a little bit, toned off a little bit. The villain could have worked a little bit better, but I do like it. And I think we're gonna end it here. We're gonna also have a spoiler-filled review. So if you have seen the movie, come back to see the spoiler-filled review. And any other parting words, James, with this or no?
This just proves further the point that Marvel can really make a good film out of any character. We saw last time Guardians of the Galaxy do really, really well with characters that are barely 6 years old. So, I mean, with Marvel, this just proves further that they can really turn any character and any really movie, they can make it work.
I agree. And it's much better than you may think it is. So don't underestimate Ant-Man, because I think it's a nice surprise. That's going to be it for today, or it for this podcast. We'll do another one and look for that on the stream as well. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right, before this podcast ends, I want to give a thank you to my patrons. Right now, we have one patron, which is David from Spain, and I want to thank you for your financial support to help making this possible. If you want your name to be called out and your location, please become a patron on Patreon. Our link should be in the description, or just look for us, 3D or 2D, on Patreon, and you get plenty of benefits. So again, thank you, David from Spain, and I hope to have many more Patreon patrons with us soon. Thanks again, David. All right, so that's going to be it for this podcast.
We now have a Patreon, and the link is in the description. Thanks for watching.
And we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They don't put it everywhere. Just look for us, 3D or 2D. And of course, review us on iTunes. And if you want to write us a letter, our email address is email3dortwo d@gmail.com. So that's going to be it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. Hey, bye.
Bye, everyone.